pass options off of power. We even run pass options off of our outside zone or stretch play. But certainly the most common one that's being run today across the U.S. And I know, talking with coaches here, multiple teams in Germany are running the inside zone run pass option concept. The philosophy here is quite simple. We read a defender instead of blocking a defender. The benefits are, for us, it's one of our base running plays, so this concept ties in to our base running play, which is inside zone. It's very versatile in that we can add multiple throws, and I'll talk a little bit about that, the multiple throws that we use as part of the run pass option series. And it also, I think, is very advantageous to personnel. We have, at our level, very talented slot receivers that sometimes get into a little bit of a mismatch trying to block linebackers or very physical safeties. This is a way that we can use what they do well, and that's catching the ball in a little bit of space to create a big play, as opposed to having to block those defenders. This type of offense really is an answer to teams that are trying to play multiple defenders against the run and outnumber you as an offensive team in the area to run the football. Instead of having to physically block everybody, create space and ways to use your skilled personnel. I think it's a way to attack the defense. It's a way that gives you multiple ways to attack the defense by combining an interior run play with a variety of perimeter throws. Quarterback techniques, and we run this all from the shotgun. There are some teams, honestly, that are starting to do RPOs from underneath center. Our quarterback is 5 yards deep. What he does is he'll open his hips to the running back. And we're running this out of a shotgun. We don't run a lot of pistol. We'll actually flip the back from side to side. But we're going to drop our hips and open our hips with the first step to square our angle to where our read defender is. And then through the mesh point of the back, our eyes are always on the read. One of the other important things in running inside zone is we want to clear the midline for our back on his inside zone course. So we're actually taking the ball, opening our hips, clearing this midline so that the back can come right down the midline of the line of scrimmage, because many times the inside zone play will actually cut back behind the center's original alignment. And then we follow through with that with either a fake or a throw fake, depending on if we've handed the ball off or not. The running back's technique. Our aiming point for the running back is always the inside hip of the play side guard, or the guard across from the center. So if our back's on the left, we're running our inside zone play to the right. We do some same side inside zone. So if the running back, the quarterback is here and the running back's lined up to his left, sometimes we'll call inside zone to the left, which is another way that we run RPOs. But normally our back is coming from the back side of the call, and our aiming point is the inside hip of the play side guard. So in this case, if the quarterback is here and I'm lined up as the running back to the left, our inside zone play would be called to the right. The big thing with the backs is their footwork and the tempo of their footwork. Okay, this is a play that really requires the back to have what I call a paced tempo through the exchange. This shouldn't be a real fast action by the back. His alignment is going to be 1 yard deeper than the quarterback's heels, and his alignment in relationship to the center would be over the inside leg of the guard in front of him. So he's going to split the guard's legs. His first step is going to be a 6-inch lateral step where he steps towards the play, basically just replacing my heel with my toe. And then on the second step, gaining ground as he runs that course across from the quarterback directly at his aiming point, which is the inside leg of the opposite guard. And now on the third step, as he comes through the exchange, what we want to see is his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. So that now it becomes a 3-directional run. I can go here, bounce to the outside, cut back subtly to the backside. So the third step is going to be slightly longer than the first step in order to get my shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. And I should be at this point pretty much right on top of my aiming point of that guard's inside leg. I talked about this as far as coaching points, one being the tempo. It shouldn't be this fast. It's got to be a tempoed exchange where that back's going here, rolling over the football. The tempo should be the same the entire time with my eyes on the primary read, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and then getting the shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. The other coaching point for the running back on inside zone is that they have to press the line of scrimmage before they can cut. So it shouldn't be a situation where the back's going here, getting the ball, and then cutting immediately. He needs to press that line of scrimmage, and to see that lane open up, and the more you press the line of scrimmage, the more your blockers can carry blocks that give you the ability to make your one cut and then attack the open gap. Okay, so a couple of coaching points there. Let me go back and review those. Tempo through the exchange. Okay, we don't want to be in a hurry. If we're in a hurry, what we do is we end up in English we call it handcuffing the quarterback. If the back is too fast, the quarterback can't get in a position where he can truly ride that fake with his eyes on his throw read. The back shoulders should end up square to the line of scrimmage after the handoff. Press the line of scrimmage, one cut upfield. Running backs reads, and I'll show you this when I get to the video. We are always going to read inside zone based on the block on the first defensive lineman that's play side of the center. Okay, and probably the best way I can do this, if I get a couple of volunteers here, one guy to be the center, good-looking center here, turn around, face the line of scrimmage, and I need somebody to stand in here for a guard. Perfect, yeah. All right, so if we have a defensive lineman now, just one guy to be a defensive lineman. All right, we're going to start with having your technique be here, one technique on the center. So if I'm the running back, and we're running inside zone to the right, and I'm coming across, this is the first man play side of the center. Okay, so my first read is going to go right here. So my aiming point is at the guard. I'm looking at this read. If this read widens, now I'll cut back. Okay? If this read stays inside, now I'll continue on this course to this gap. All right? So, primary read always starts here. If the front is different, and now the first defensive lineman is on the guard, that's still my read. Okay, so the same two things can happen. If on that block, if he works to the outside, I'm here. If he comes inside, he'll take me on this path. All right? Now, we add to that obviously the front can change. So if it comes to an odd front, where he's lined up, head up on the center, most of the time now we're going to read the defensive tackle that's over the offensive tackle, or defensive end, whatever you want to call it, because he's the first man play side of center. Make sense to everybody? All right, and then we add a second read. So you want to slide over here again, all right? So now the second read, in this case, let's say that he works outside. The read is to come back. In this case now, our second read will go to the backside defensive lineman here. And the ball will either stay here, or if that guy squeezes as well, we'll cut back. Come back, and now come the other way. So if now my primary read comes in, now I'm going to look to the next lineman outside. If he stays outside, stay on this path. If he also squeezes, then the ball would bounce outside. A real simple drill. I'm going to get these three people to come up on the stage, and I'm going to show you a real simple drill. I'm going to have all of you stand in front of me, just like this. And now, when I count to 3, all take one lateral step, one direction or another. Doesn't make any difference which way you go. Okay? So what we do is we simulate this guy as being our primary read for the back. So what we do is we have the quarterback here, the back here. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Take your step. And the seam opens up. So my primary read did this way, secondary read went out. All right, now do the same thing and take a step a different direction. Doesn't make any difference which way you step. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lines back, because they all went out. Primary read went out, secondary read slid over. Okay? So just following, thanks guys, appreciate it. So following that through, again, if it's an even front, our first read is going to be the defensive lineman over the guard. Our second read, if our first read works to the outside, would be the defensive end on the tight end. If his read gives him an out read, I should say. So again, let me go back to that. First read, defensive lineman on the guard. If that guard gives him a read that the play should go outside, then he's going to read the defensive end on the tight end's block, or if there's no tight end, might actually be on the offensive tackle. If his primary read tells him that he needs to bend it back, now he's going to go to the defensive lineman that's on the backside guard. If it's an odd front, again, we're saying a zero technique on the center. We're going to read the offensive tackle's block on the defensive end. If the tackle works inside, so now his second read is out, it'll be the tight end's block on the outside linebacker. If the first read has the offensive tackle's block on the defensive end, showing that we should cut inside, now we work the nose's block on the center. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the blocking. I want to spend a little bit more time on the read concepts for the plays and the quarterback. But obviously in zone blocking, we're gap responsible. We're going to block the defender that's responsible for the call side or the play side gap. And we're going to use combo blocks, meaning that any of the uncovered linemen are going to work with the play side covered linemen, working to change the level of the line of scrimmage, and that's how we get those reads. Okay, where we're working in those double team combination blocks, either getting their back an inside or outside read. A couple things on offensive line techniques. As far as inside zone, and again, I can spend more time with you on the blocking in the question and answer session if you have some questions about that, but I really want to get to the read portion and then show you some video. Is that the offensive line is going to gain ground with this lateral step. So, different than the back, where we're telling the back to replace his toe, his heel with his toe in his lateral step. On the offensive line on inside zone, we're going to step laterally, stay square, but actually if the play is going to the right, I'm going to gain ground with that initial lateral step. Just a little bit. Gain ground with that, with my front foot. The second step is probably the most important step in inside zone, because we're going to deliver the blow with the second step. And we're trying to drive, and if we got an outside technique here, and this lateral step will be as wide as needed to get me to the correct leverage on the defender. I know that word doesn't translate very well. So if I have a technique that's fairly tight, my lateral step is short. If I have a technique that's wider, now my lateral step is wider. And my second step then is going to try to drive my knee and split the defender's body. We say drive the knee right into his crotch, and then that's where our contact occurs. Hands inside. With hand positions working play side armpit with my play side hand, sternum with the backside hand. Notice that my shoulders were square all the way through that action. Shoulders are square all the time. If I'm a lineman that's in an uncovered position, working the combo to a covered lineman, now my first step, again, will get to a lateral position where I can cover the inside half of the defender. And so now my aiming point is sternum, backside armpit. So sternum, backside armpit, and that's where our combo, their shoulders square, comes together. All right, wide receivers. And this is all part of the run-pass option now. And I know I'm going pretty fast. I didn't spend much time on the blocking, and we can spend some more time on that. But these are all of the concepts that we run off of inside zone run-pass options. And I'll show you these. We run stick routes. We run bubble pass. We run what we call slow screens and sting screens. And then all four of those concepts we'll run, and I'll show you all four of them, off of inside zone action. The other thing that we do is we use all of these concepts as ways in which we can set up bigger plays off of play action where we take shots downfield. So here's a little diagram of these routes. First of all, stick routes. This is a three-step route. It's like a three-step hitch. We're trying, if there's space between a defender, we're trying to maximize the space between a defender. Three-step route, 1, 2, 3, hips come down, turn into the quarterback. When we're doing that, we're trying to drive off the football with those three steps, making any defensive back think that there's a threat that the receiver could be running off the ball on a deep route. You've all seen the bubble, where we're throwing this as an interior swing, or we're throwing this as a swing route, trying to block outside leverage on the defenders with the other two. And these can all be run out of three-man surfaces or run to twin receivers as well. A couple things on the bubble path, and you'll see the way we teach this is we have our receivers that are running the bubble course to actually open up, see the ball the entire time, run flat down the line of scrimmage, and try to catch it as they're running slightly towards the line of scrimmage. We like this to be a forward pass. To do that, to ensure that, we've got to make sure that our receiver does not give a lot of ground away from the line of scrimmage, but he opens his shoulders, runs, and as he's gaining width, he will slightly get closer to the line of scrimmage. Slow screens are similar to the bubble, with the exception of now we just back this receiver down the line of scrimmage. Probably do this a little bit more with two receivers than we would with three receivers. But now he just opens directly to the quarterback and backs up, while the blockers again try to get immediate leverage. The sting screen is one where now we're throwing to the outside receiver. And we're blocking in a combination of ways. We might actually combo this, have him block this guy and him block this guy, try to get the ball up in the alley. But it's a situation where the outside receiver now gets the ball. He steps ahead, one step, comes back, catches the football in a position to help set this block up. So the big part of the play is how you teach your quarterback in terms of what his reads are. And many times this play will actually provide the quarterback the ability to throw the ball on either side, even though the fake is only going to occur on one side. When we have the ability to throw on the side away from the fake, we refer to that as an alert. Okay? That means that pre-snap, the quarterback determines that they are not in a position defensively to be able to cover whatever our perimeter throw call is to the side away from the fake. Most often, we will run a bubble screen or a sting screen as an alert. That means upon catching the football, the quarterback's just going to take that ball and throw it out. So we'll combine the alert on this side with the read and the fake that occurs on the opposite side. So pre-snap, they're in a position where it looks like they're going to defend by alignment, be able to defend the perimeter screen. Now, our read, which occurs on the side of the fake, could be the same call. We could have a bubble screen called on the alert side. We could have a bubble screen called on the read side, or we could have a different call over here. It could be alert the bubble screen, and on the fake side, we're going to throw the stick route. And that read occurs during the course of the handoff. Our eye goes to our read, which is normally the apex defender, the linebacker that now is outside the box, the roll down safety that's over the second receiver, although we will throw these to the single receiver side as well. And then again, you're looking at a combination of the apex defender and possibly the alignment of the corner. So the quarterback will come to the line of scrimmage. Just say we're in a formation where we have two receivers on one side, two receivers on the other side. The back set to my left will have a alert call over here, which can be directly upon the snap thrown out there, or we will execute the snap, the inside zone, fake. If our read, the apex defender, defends the pass or stays away from the tackle box, we simply hand the ball off. If that apex defender attacks the tackle box, we now are making the decision to pull the football and throw off of the fake, whatever the concept that we have called there. The bottom is really important when you're coaching this concept. You have to tell the quarterback he's never wrong to hand off the ball. He's never wrong to hand off the ball. When in doubt, we always say, when in doubt, hand it off. When the read's not clear, hand it off. All right, so one of the things that's happening in and you teams that are running run-pass option plays know that one of the ways that teams are defending this is they're playing man-to-man coverage. Playing cover one, playing tight coverage in all your receivers. So one of the other things that we've added to this concept is that we will run these same run-pass option plays with man-to-man routes on the perimeter, where we'll say,
Everybody's running slants. We know they're going to play man-to-man coverage. We're running inside zone, run-pass option, running slants. And then basically what our quarterback comes to the line of scrimmage, he looks at, yep, got man-to-man coverage. I've got a favorable matchup over here in man-to-man. I'm going to pull the ball and throw the slant. Or I don't like any of the matchups. They're playing two deep man under coverage, trying to take away the pass. I'm handing the football off. So it's one more stage or one more step in the process. I've got some video here that I'd like to walk you through. And these are different throws off of run-pass option. And all of these are against different fronts, which I think is kind of interesting. All right, so our formation here is trip set here. This is a version of that slow screen that I talked about. If you look at this from a perimeter standpoint, what are they playing coverage-wise? Cover one, right? Man-to-man. So we're completely matched up on this side, and all of those guys are playing pass. All of them are playing pass. One-on-one here to the boundary as well. And so we really don't normally have an alert here on a single receiver side. So with this, it's going to be a handoff play. Now this is really, and we get a lot of unique fronts. You know, a lot of unique fronts. This was really a 3-3 defensive football team. And so it breaks down a little bit of our inside zone rules because this is really a man block here. It's a man block here. Here's our first combo, here. He's responsible to cut this off. And this defender really now becomes the responsibility of the quarterback in this look. And so if you look what happens here, again, his first read should be here. Okay, that's the first down lineman play side. Really, the read should, and I put this in here, the read should really take him right here. He should take him behind this block. He ends up seeing all this green grass here or green turf and just cuts it out. But you can see if he would have trusted his read, this ball would have rolled right back here because this guy can't make the play, right? So he bounces outside. All right, similar formation, only now the back is set on the other side. And in this case, this throw now would become the alert. All right? Quarterback didn't like the alert, didn't like the position of this lineman. Obviously, it's almost in a 3-over-3 situation. Whoop, sorry, we'll bring that back. Again, we're down in the goal line. We get a lot of people close to the line of scrimmage. The inside zone play is going to the right as you're looking at it. Primary read would be right here. Again, our first combination block would be as these guys work this way. Well, sorry, we're having a little bit of trouble here. One more time. Zone block. You can see now that his primary read went out, and now his secondary read also crossed, and so his track's going to take him right back here. That was also the slow screen. Get different throws. Now we widen our splits. This was a good team to do this against. Again, with the back set on this side, this throw would become an alert. Do we have the alert? No, 3 over 3. We're completely matched, okay? So now this becomes a situation where our read would be back here. And usually on the back side of this with a single receiver, we're going to run a stick route back here. And so with this much cushion, he could throw the stick back here. No apex defender, a lot of cushion. He could throw the stick route as a read to the single receiver. He didn't like the leverage of the corner. When in doubt, hand the ball off. Again, kind of an interesting front. It's a 3-3 look, which forces his first read is here with the 0 nose. You can see the running back's eyes here are really good. His eyes are on the block that 64 is throwing. And obviously, our secondary combination block has this all wadded up back here. Front side running lane. Here's a few where we get the ball thrown now. 2-and-2 sets. This was a tempo play. You can see the defense is struggling, getting aligned. Again, we tell the quarterback, if there's any doubt, hand it off. We're running a bubble screen here. The bubble's not there. The apex defender's running out of the box. Give the football. It's not as good an end zone film. You can see how the front all washes this way. Primary read, secondary read. This ball's going to bend back right down the midline that I talked about that we've got to make sure stays clear for the running back. Not a great second cut there by our back. Okay, here's one where we're running the bubble screen to the alert side. Okay, so this side away from the handoff is the alert. He's looking at these defender. Again, out of the box, pretty well matched. Don't like the alert. We're pressed here. We're running a stick route on the backside as far as our read. We don't like that. It's going to give it. Even front now. So the back's primary read will be the guard's block here as we work our zones across. Good job here by the back, how we talk about press this front side. Because what happens is his initial read is cloudy. It finally comes off as a seam read. Good job on the back side here, getting their containment, so it becomes an out seal read, and the lane will be right here. I said I've got some throws here coming up. Again, the alert to the front side. Pretty well defended. This one possibly could have been thrown. Apex defender here is pretty tight to the formation. We have 2-on-2 block, safety's high. He could throw this. The other thing I would like on this one is with the stick route here, there's a possibility that we could throw this versus cushion. Instead, he elects to hand it off. This is a good look where the reads go all the way down the line of scrimmage. So, with this front, okay, first read is here, he's inside. Second read is here, he's there. So now it forces the ball to wind all the way back. Not very good by our backside tackle here. He actually allows a little too much penetration. But the ball really comes right back on that midline course that we talk about keeping clean for the back. All right, let's get to some throws here. I know we've got some coming. All right. This one I think should have been thrown. Okay, apex defender, even though the safety is running to it, difficult angle. Watch this quickly just from a line standpoint. Again, zone. Does a great job of pressing this ball front side. See his original landmark, takes him right at the inside hip of the guard. Press, press, press. Now, make your one cut. One cut. Sting screen. This is a sting screen. At the top. Again, one of those that probably could have been thrown. Because our numbers are good. He elects to hand this off. Presses it, keeps the ball on the midline. Becomes an effective play for a five-yard gain. I'm going to skip over that one. That's a quarterback keep. I'm going to try to get you some throws here because I know I'm getting short on time. All right, let's go back to this one. All right, here's a unbalanced formation. Doesn't really change our play. I'm going to go to the next one here, which shows you. All right, this is a stick route concept, and you can see just by simple alignment, they can't cover this. All right, they don't have a guy over the third receiver stick route, so it really should be given. We come back and run this play the next time, the same play, he'll actually throw it out there. Kind of a crazy front here that we're seeing. We see a lot of these kinds of fronts. Lots of times teams don't get lined up. That's why the zone concept is so good. Our linemen here do a really good job of sorting this out. And as the center crosses his face and he presses this at the inside hip of the guard, the hole naturally opens. Okay, same play. They're pretty much aligned the same way. Good look at a stick route. 3 steps. Quarterback pokes the ball, throws it out. All right, so now this is bubble screen being thrown. Quarterback's footwork's not great here. He ends up kind of side-arming this ball. He had a hard time holding on to the snap. This was a pretty cold day. But you can see that the original alignment here, by original alignment, the apex player is struggling to get lined up. They really don't have a position to read this or to play this. As a result, throws the bubble screen out. Pretty easy, 7-8 yards. Same thing. Struggling to get lined up. So we'll take the bubble screen. Perimeter receivers, we're trying to get outside leverage on this block. Trying to get outside leverage here and fight this guy. If he wants to work to get outside leverage, we'll fight him all the way to the sideline. Trying to make this play be a vertical or a horizontal stretch type play. You can see a variety of formations, but it's the same concept all the time. Again, read side, the read side here. They can't defend the bubble, they're short. The apex player is actually inside the tackle box, so the ball gets thrown out. He had to stop and put his mouthpiece in. Good look, the linemen are blocking the run play. You can see if we give this ball, we don't have enough blockers. There's not enough blockers to account for every linebacker. That's because this is the extra defender, so the ball gets thrown out. Little wider splits. Here's the slow screen off the same action. We're trying to work outside leverage at the top. So look where we're running slow screens on both sides, both the alert side and on the read side. Apex player's wider here, takes away the alert. No apex player here. They're very confused here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And it still works. Just a couple more of the throws. All right, this is an alert. This is an example of an alert, okay? I'm not quite sure why he threw it, but obviously our read at the bottom is going to be a sting screen. He's going to block here. He's coming back off the ball. The alert is the bubble at the top. Now, really, because this guy is out of the box this far, he should really give this football. But it just shows you that the placement of the bubble, if you can throw it in a way, and you can see how he opens and then looks at the football while he's attacking downhill, if you can place that bubble throw in a good position, it really becomes a race. And that's a 6-yard gain. Okay, now the bubble throw is on the read side. And here's an example of a stick throw at the bottom being an alert. Okay, which I think, again, this would be certainly an option that he could throw based on the fact that there's no apex player and the corner gets cushion. The other reason why I put this on is, in this case, we tightened our splits. for the bubble, and notice that we changed the blocking, where now he's going to block here, and he actually will lead to the outside on the bubble screen. So just another way that you can change the play to create different blocking angles for your perimeter people. Just a couple more here. All right, here's an example of a bubble screen to the second receiver. Just, again, same play, just changing the perimeter slightly. We're throwing this as an alert. Don't really even need to poke this ball on the alert. You should just throw it out there. All right, and the last one. All right, so I talked about how we'll change against teams, and this team obviously is playing a lot of people close to the line of scrimmage, playing tighter man-to-man coverage, that will actually change our RPOs and run man-to-man type routes. What we do here is we run a slant route. It ends up being pretty flat because of the inside leverage. But it's just another way to throw this. So we're throwing the slant here as an alert. Saying man-to-man coverage, I'm not going to fake it. I'm just going to throw the slant route immediately upon the catch. And here's the last one, and I don't think we complete this one, but obviously one of the things when you're running these types of actions a lot is you create opportunities off of this, as well as your tempo, to take deep shots. So we've run this concept with the read to the three-man bubble side quite a bit in this game. So now what we're going to do is actually call a play where it looks like an RPO, bubble, fake, but now we're going to block pass protection and actually try to show and go on the defenders. Sorry. So this is a chance to take this. Could have a little better fake here, but actually a chance to take either the post to the wheel based on what the corner does. They do a decent job of defending it, but obviously we could have completed this had we thrown the ball a little bit better. But the kind of things that you can add to your RPO package that make it all look the same. Notice here, though, we are pass protecting. We're not zone blocking. But the action in the backfield and on the perimeter looks the same. How much time do I have? Am I out? All right, until I hear I'm out. Questions? Ask me questions. Do we have tight end concepts? Yep, we'll run the equivalent of one of the things I didn't talk about here, but we do run pop pass concepts with the tight end. Not as much off of inside zone. We run those more off of our stretch action RPOs, but we do have a couple where we use the tight end. In our formationing, lots of times we use the tight ends as split receivers so that teams can't personnel us. So many of the times when we were in two receiver sets with two receivers on both sides, one of those receivers was actually a tight end, which works out really well when you put those guys into a position where they're blocking a defensive back and blocking for the perimeter screens. Question? more time. Yep. 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 You can either flip the running back over, or one of the things, if you're interested, I'll show you in the breakout session afterwards, is we throw stick routes quite often off of same side inside zone. So if you can always flip the back over, start the back on one side, change them over to the other side. We get a lot of teams that, because of what we do, they're going to play the side of the back coverage-wise differently than they play the side away from the back. And by buzzing the back to the other side, it confuses them in their coverage calls. Any other questions? Yes, way in the back.
Do you always run your inside zone to the 3-tech?
No. As a matter of fact, it just so happened that most of those clips are run to the 3 technique, or we'll run it either way. It's the one play in our offensive system that we want to be able to run at any technique, any front, without having to worry about any kind of a check system. We probably, honestly, would run it more to the shade than we do to the 3 technique. But just the way, because we get most teams that we play are going to play their 3 technique to the back when we line up. If we put our back on their left, they're going to play the 3 technique on this side. So, and even front teams tend to do that just from the standpoint of how they want to defend us. Yep.
So on the left slant, you have the normal for the offensive line to pass block?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually, that's a different call. The action's going to look like RPO in the backfield, but we're actually calling the line into protection there.
So always slant?
Not always. Sometimes we will throw slants off of the run action, but most of the time when we're doing that, we're gonna make that as a protection call. Yep.
How do you react when they drop the box and throw man all over the board?
Yep. 2 things. When we get those kinds of looks, now we'll start to throw more man-to-man routes. Okay? Throw speed outs, throw vertical routes, try to make big plays. The other thing is then those will be times that we'll utilize our quarterback in the run game. Because what happens is if they're playing your perimeter people man-to-man with a high safety for help, now the numbers that they have to stop the run game makes it very difficult for them to stop the quarterback as a zone read threat. So he might now, instead of reading the apex defender, he may now read the defensive end knowing that it's going to be a give or keep. So that way you offset that. So if you have a quarterback that can run a little bit, it makes it very difficult for teams to do that on a consistent basis. Or the other thing is, throw the ball vertically, get a couple of big plays, makes it hard for them to do that too. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. I'll be down in the room for a little while. I just want to say on behalf of Coach Monson and myself too, because we'll be heading back tomorrow, it's been great to be here. It's always refreshing to come and be with a group of people that want to learn about a great game. So thanks very much. Appreciate it.